Have you guys heard of mini or micro retirements? The idea is that they're called things like or multi-retirement or strategic career break. The idea is that you take either multiple mini retirements throughout your career to take a break, to rest, to travel, to pursue things that you're interested in instead of waiting till the very end of your career to do it, because sometimes it doesn't work out for everybody. I did some research and here's what I learned. What is a mini retirement? Mini retirements are intentional breaks lasting several months to a year. They're designed for life balance, mental health, or career redirection. They're purposeful. They're not just time off, but time to reflect and recharge. So why are they trending? According to HSBC, Gen Z and millennials report that many expect to take 2 to 3 of them throughout their lifetime. The post-pandemic reevaluation of work-life balance is part of the effect, and the FIRE movement, which is, Financial independence, retire early. Both of those things have accelerated this as a life tactic. Let's go over the pros and cons. So the pros are things like mental rest, burnout prevention, Lord, we all need that, exploration of passions or new skills, improved well-being and perspective. I mean, the idea, I think, is that you step away and you make sure that you're living your life in the direction that you want to be. And if you don't want to be, you get some clarity and then you redirect. So when you step back into the professional world, you step back in, pointed it in the right direction. Right, here are the cons. Requires financial planning and savings. Career interruptions or resume gaps might be problematic for your career. Possible loss of benefits or income. So, you know that like probably most of us don't have jobs we can just step away from for 3 months to a year and then step right back into. Maybe you do, maybe you've saved enough, maybe you don't plan to step back into it anyway and you plan to step into something different so then you don't care. So you can plan ahead for something like this, but you do have to be methodical about it. Here's a real life example of it. It's called the family sabbatical, and basically the idea was a couple spent a year in Portugal homeschooling and freelancing while renting out their home. Now, if you have kids young enough, you could do that. I have a friend that spent the summer, she and her husband went and lived on a very inexpensive beach in, I forget if it was Costa Rica, I think it was, with their 2 young sons. And the young sons did camp there all summer, and they lived like in a hut on the beach, and she worked on the computer remotely. So you can kind of think outside the box. I mean, she's still working, right? But was a way to take, like, let's say a half sabbatical. Let's go over how you would plan one for yourself if possible. Define your purpose. Is it to rest, travel, to learn? Is it for family time? Is it for a career change? I want one for a career change right now. You have to think about your budget. You need 6 to 12 months of living expenses. You need life insurance during that time. You have to really plan ahead and set this all aside. And I would say even more than that. So if you plan on going for 6 months, you need more than that just in case you're not lucky enough to just step right back into a job and income after 6 months. Another thing you need to do is figure it out with your employer if you plan on going back there, even if you don't, but you don't want to tell them. So figure it out with your employer and frame it as like a time for growth, a time for coming back fresh, a time for coming back with new ideas, like that you'll actually be contributing even more to the company when you come back rather than talking about the absence. I know somebody who did this, who was a teacher, and he went and spent a year traveling, but what he did like video conferencing or chats with the classroom while he was gone. So there was a regular teacher back who replaced him, but he convinced the school system to pay him and let him go, and then he did all this remote teaching essentially. So it was a really amazing thing, and if you frame it right, you could make it happen. And the last thing about planning it is you need to plan your re-engagement, right? You need to plan how you're going to get back into place, wherever that place is. If it's at the same job or in the same industry, you need to maintain contact. You need to keep your connections, and you need to have planned that a bit ahead of time with your employer. If it's something different, you still need to plan. So you do need to spend that time away thinking about, and even before that, thinking about where you're going to step into when you're done with that sabbatical or mini retirement. Now, the trade-offs are that you'll lose income, right, during that time, depending, most likely, and you might lose momentum in your career, but maybe what you'll gain is new perspective, fresh interest in doing what you're doing, your mental health back. Who knows what you'll gain? So you weigh those options, right? What's the trade-off and is it worth it? Do you think this is going to become a new trend? Do you know anybody that's done it? Or are you interested in doing it? I'd love to hear all about it. Comment below. And basically the gist is it's work, pause, repeat. So you're working, then you're taking a pause, and then you get back into work again. And it could be every other year, it could be twice in your lifetime, or who knows. But it is very appealing, and I definitely know people have done something like it without thinking of it as a mini retirement. But now it's more formally seen as a mini retirement, and I find it very appealing. How about you? If you don't know me, this is Empowered Aging. I talk everything about getting older and really talking to Gen X, but it's helpful for everybody. Okay, follow. Bye.